Hola and welcome to the 25th episode of the Roofless Dog and Pony Show. I am Julio Panisello. Today I am on time. I am the dream alchemist at Roofless Painters, and I'm going to be the host of this presentation. And as an introduction, in case you are seeing this for the very first time, the Roofless Dog and Pony Show is a weekly live presentation featuring the conceptual and the stylistic inspiration behind our painting webinars. We introduce the theme for the next painting collection, and we talk about the inspiration behind it. We bring up some art history references, a bit of commentary, and the episode serves as an introduction to the painting webinar. So when we actually start the painting webinar, we pretty much start painting. Well, we start sketching. Hello everyone. You can find all the episodes in our YouTube channel. We have 26 counting this one, right? 26? Yes, 25. And also you can find them among our Instagram posts. So for the past, I think now 10 months, we have been painting remotely. And now we find ourselves in another lockdown. We cannot even go and paint outside, which we did last month, but we can't anymore. The numbers are horrific. But I bring this up because for the past 10 months, all the painting collections that we have proposed have been directly or indirectly related to our experience of being remotely isolated, or painting remotely, or not being part of our community. So the themes have been changing, and we have been very political at some times because we have gone through a lot as a community, as a country, as the planet, I would say. But we have always found that conceptual reason why we would do that specific collection. So this week we are going to paint mushrooms, and you're gonna wonder what's the conceptual reasoning why we should do that. And I'm just gonna bring up some facts about mushrooms. I'm gonna bring up a few paintings done in the past 2 centuries, I would say maybe 20th century. But there's some very interesting work, and also some very interesting facts. So the most important conceptual connection is that mushrooms do not require sunlight to make energy for themselves. So they pretty much are the epitome of remote beings that thrive in isolation. So we think that, painting mushrooms, not only it's a great subject matter for a painting, and we'll explain why, but conceptually, I feel like we can relate of the experience of being being a mushroom in a way. So absence of sunlight, they don't need it, and I'll just bring up some other interesting facts. But let me just go ahead and start sharing some of the paintings that we gathered. This painting is by an American painter, Frederick Mcduff, 1931-2011. And he was born in Birmingham, Alabama in 1931. We love the composition, the very extreme landscape oriented format. the way the still life has been treated. But we thought this could be a good example of why mushrooms as a subject for painting are so wonderful and so good. The structure, the harmony of colors, and obviously the way this still life is organized, the light direction. But so he traveled to Europe. He was a war veteran. He traveled to Europe. He also returned to New York. I think he studied in the Art Students League of New York. And yes, he just left actually the US and went to Europe. And he was self-taught. He decided to teach himself by going to museums. And he was inspired by the classics, by the masters, whatever that means. But we don't have a date for this painting, and we also love the fact that there is this beautiful teal, almost turquoisey blue color on the cast shadow. We talk about cast shadows from live. They're not neutral. They have color. So observe the beauty of the color on the cast shadow, this almost like lavender tone with the touches of teal blue. I'm going to bring another example of a painting a little bit more traditional. This is by Robert Humblet, Mushrooms 1945, and we didn't find a bio, but another example of a different kind of like still life, or rather, I would say still life. And we love this one because it's heavily neutral in color. The only accent tone is this very desaturated yellow ochre on the root of the smaller mushroom. Notice the beautiful pale and soft green used for the grass or the vegetation behind the mushroom, and obviously this amazing gray tone in the background. So I'm just gonna bring another one, and this has like a few dots. That's not part of the painting, but we did a snapshot on the screen and this just came up, and I don't have an artist for this one. I'll just find it in a minute, but let me just go to another one. This is like possibly the most well-known artist of all the ones that we have put together in this portfolio. Otto Dix, Mushrooms, 1969. It's a lithograph, and on lithograph in colors on cream wove. Okay, I might just like have copied this like some weird way, but I don't know. Anyhow, it's a lithograph. Otto Dix was a German expressionist, and he was well known for doing almost like I'm not gonna say it right. Cartoonish. I'm gonna say cartoonish. Portraits of Germany, I think in the 20s. I'm just gonna find out right now. Before, let me just bear with me. And Otto Dix, German painter, 1891, 1969. Printmaker also, hence this lithograph. Noted for his ruthless and harshly realistic depictions of German society during the Weimar Republic and the brutality of war. He's widely considered one of the most important artists in the it's a German word, it's a German art movement, New Objectivity. So another great example of a mushroom still life. I'm just gonna bring this one is by a female artist who was also a mycologist. Her name was Beatrix Potter, and she Helen Beatrix Potter, 1866 and 1943. We don't have a year for this illustration. She was an English writer, illustrator, natural scientist, and conservationist. She was best known for her children's books featuring animals, such as those in The Tale of Peter Rabbit. And I'm just going to show you a photograph of her holding a cheek that I just think it's adorable, and I just feel like I want to paint this photo. This is Beatrix Potter, and she actually wrote about mushrooms, and I think I have an excerpt from one of her writings somewhere, but I'll try to find it. But yeah, let me just go back. This is a very typical botanical study of a mushroom in which you can see different views of the exact same species, sections, and I think there are 2 species here perhaps. But yeah, so there's no context, there's no spatial environment, there's no perspective. It's a different way of approaching the representation of the subject matter, in which it's more analytical and yeah, based on observation, a little bit different. So anyhow, this one right here, let me see if I can find the information. This painting is by another female artist, Camilla Goebel Wall. I don't know how to pronounce it. She was Austrian, 1871, 1965. We don't have the year for this painting, but we have a title: Fly Agaric Mushrooms. Fly Agaric, I think they're the poisonous mushrooms. She was born in Vienna. She was a student of a few famous female painters at the time, Olga Wisinger and R. Gilling. She exhibited for the first time in 1896 in Vienna Artists Unit, and she is well known for her wonderful gallery of flowers, still lifes. Yeah, anyhow, so this is like a different approach to painting the subject matter, in which the background actually, I would say, dominates. We've seen so far examples of mushroom paintings with neutral backgrounds, the mushroom painting as a study without absolutely no spatial context, and this one is a great example of mushroom setup in its natural environment with a great dominance, spatial dominance of background space. We love the treatment of light and how it varies from mushroom to mushroom. The use of green, this one has a lot of blue. This green, it's very close to viridian, so I think it also in painting terms, it creates a really nice temperature contrast with I would say really deep orange, not red, really deep orange of the mushroom. So great contrast also with value, dark greens surrounding the mushroom, and that really pale ecru tone on the stem of the mushroom. Another painting that, this one, Yayoi Kusama, we found out that not only she did a lot of pumpkins, but she also painted a lot of mushrooms. So Yayoi Kusama, she's still alive. She's a Japanese artist. I think she was born in 1929. This was painted in 2003, and she's famous for the polka dots. And there was a time during her career in which she actually painted natural forms using that kind of pattern. A net on the background, which for her symbolizes life and the connection of everything. And then the mushrooms shaped and also colored and texturized with polka dots. I mean, we're familiar with the polka dots on the big mushroom and those with the orange notes, but this one, I think it's a really fun painting because it has a lot of different textures. And she has a lot. We highly recommend you Google Yayoi Kusama mushroom paintings, and you'll find a rich portfolio, a varied portfolio of paintings in which mushrooms are the subject matter. We didn't have time to go deep into the spiritual and emotional connection between mushrooms and her beliefs about life, but knowing knowing a little bit of her life, we think there may be here a connection between isolation, quietness, silence, absence of light. She's very peculiar about giving interviews, and she's a very secluded artist, and I think now she suffers from mental condition. I'm talking out of my butt, obviously, but I think there's something connected to that is affecting her expression or her career as an artist. But yeah, that's my hunch. I would say there's a connection here between the subject matter, a very strong connection between the subject matter and conceptually what it means for her. And I think perhaps tomorrow when we do the webinar, Jen, if you're still here, we can just do a little bit of a deep dive in what mushrooms meant for Yayoi Kusama and how that could be used as a conceptual backing and reasoning for doing mushrooms tomorrow. So I'm just going to bring another painting. This one, let me see if I can find the information. It's by Alexei Popov, Mushrooms, 1966, and we don't have a lot of information on his life. I think he was a Ukrainian painter. We chose this one because of the way it's painted. It's very post-impressionist, with very decisive brushstrokes, and absolutely love this chocolate milk blanket with dashes of periwinkle reflection, rich yellow ochre. Yellow ochre is a very challenging color because nothing in nature, well, now maybe in Southern California there is not that much yellow ochre, but it's very hard to apply yellow ochre on subjects. And this one has such a rich gold yellow ochre treated with a variation going from straight up yellow ochre in some mushrooms all the way to this gorgeous ecru tone. And we love the scattered mushrooms on the blanket, and look at how beautifully arranged the grass is on both edges of the blanket. It's only diagonally on those vignette corners of the painting. It frames the blanket beautifully, and to top it off, you have this basket which gives you a story of maybe someone going mushroom hunting and then showing the trophies on the blanket. Couldn't love this color palette anymore. Again, I just want to mention this gorgeous chocolate milk brown, or very neutral brown on the blanket. Amazing. That's it. We don't have information on the artist, but we may just do it tomorrow. And I also, oh my gosh, this painting is just amazing. Yeah, I forgot about this painting. This artist, Louis Thévenet. He was a Belgian artist. The Mushrooms, 1927. Louis Thévenet, or Thévenet. Who knows? He was born in Bruges in 1874. you guys have to check this his work because it's spectacular. It's spectacular. This painting has a very strong tonal foundation. There's nothing really that stands out color-wise. And it's also very high key, which is very challenging to do on a painting because as you work on the painting and you bring shadows, paintings tend to move towards darkness. But this painting is kept very, very light. There are mushrooms, but also there are plates and glasses and a bottle. The composition couldn't be more interesting. There's a triangular or trifecta of three objects, one of them going off the painting, the glass cup, almost symmetric. I would say the edge of the table, which looks like the table, it splits the painting in half. You have the detail of the wallpaper. Okay, Julie, I'm just making a stop, but I'm just gonna make a note of that and mention it at the end of the presentation. Thanks so much. I can't wait. Yeah, I'll talk about that actually. But going back to the painting, there's not much biographical details about these artists, which is really frustrating and sad. We're gonna have, I'm gonna just add the name on the YouTube channel. I'll just provide the name of all the artists, but we highly recommend you just Google this painter and find out other paintings. He wasn't financially successful. He went to Paris. He had a sister who supported him financially, and she was a famous opera singer in Paris. And he was mainly self-taught, but then later in his life he refuted that fact and said that he actually attended school. He at the age of 18, he embarked as an assistant cook on an English boat. In his way, he traveled along on several long-distance voyages to Haiti, where Gauguin once lived. I don't know if he has a relationship. I mean, there's any connection. Sometimes some biographies are really stupid. I mean, okay, yes, Gauguin lived in or was in Haiti, but unless he met him there, I just don't know why they put this here. About which he remained silent, not even mentioning them on his only close friend. Okay, let me just read this sentence again because I don't want to make a fool of myself. At the age of 18, he embarked as an assistant cook on an English freighter, whatever that's pronounced. In this way, obviously, this was not written by someone with English as a first language. He traveled along on several long-distance voyages to Haiti, where Gauguin once lived, about which he remained silent, not even mentioning them to his only close friend, René Lear. So I'm assuming he didn't disclose the voyages that he did. Okay, so this is gonna be a fun biography for you guys to read because it just jumps from one thing to the next. But sometimes these biographies, because these are not very well-known painters except for Otto Dix, so the way we gather biographies from painters that we found profoundly interesting and deserving of being mentioned are biographies that are written by auction houses that gather some information from letters or from copying and pasting from other sources. And so those biographies are funny. Some of them are funny to read. But anyhow, I'll just move to another artist. This biography goes on and on and on. And it ends with this line. Let me see. It's a long sentence. In his everyday life, Thévenet probably also struggled to find peace with himself. the others around him, and life itself. However, he does not resist, but retreats into a thoughtful and quiet solitude. It is this fragile tension that makes him an exceptional artist who deserves our full attention even today. Okay, so this was probably translated. Going back to the painting, you guys need to check this artist's incredible work. Yeah, for many reasons. From a painter's point of view, again, high key, tonal palette, really exquisite, and we love the style of realism. So, okay, I need to go a little faster, and I'm just going to bring a painting by a contemporary artist. And if this broadcast gets interrupted for like a little bit, just bear with me, because I'll reconnect and I'll be with you in just a tiny second. This artist, contemporary Janet Chase, American, Mushrooms, 1950, and we didn't find much information about her biography. She's represented by a gallery in the US. And we love the mixture of figurativism with abstraction, and also the use of color palette. She in her work, she creates still lifes of natural objects, not the human-made, and combines them with a very interesting treatment of the spatial context, in which the colors pick up from the subject, but then they get dissolved into an open space. There's no sense of perspective or depth or division, separation between surfaces, nothing upright, vertical, or horizontal. We brought this because it's a very interesting approach to painting the subject. And in our introductions, and when we create a portfolio of paintings done throughout contemporary art history mostly, we try to bring attention to the fact that each artist treats a subject differently, and not everything has to be Renaissance-like. So this is a good example of a different way of approaching the subject. I love the fact that the mushrooms are not touching each other. There's no sense of even that illusion of perspective when a mushroom or an object is behind another. They're all separated. There's no cast shadow. There's no idea of where the light direction comes from, and it's a beautiful painting. So I'm just gonna bring another amazing, I don't know if you guys can see this, but it's an amazing piece of work by an artist from Finland, Pentti Kaskipuro. Who knows how this is pronounced, but that's the name. Mushrooms, 1967. And we're going to put this name on the comments in our YouTube channel, because you guys must check this his work out. It's just unbelievable. 1930 to 2010. One of the best known and internationally renowned Finnish graphic artists, not only among specialist circles, but among the art-loving public. The most common themes of his dry point and aqua tint prints are everyday items such as onions, potatoes, bread, eggs, and vases of flowers. There is a painting of white carrots that took my breath away. So let's talk about composition. I don't know if you can just see the crop mushroom on the left. 3 mushrooms, 2 in full view, 1 you can only see the tail. The opposite of high key. This is as low key as it gets. A very dark charcoal note. There's a sense of light direction, but there's no separation between table and background. There's no sense of horizontal surface. And the unbalance between the negative space on the square format and where the subjects are, it's just creates such a tension. It's such an incredible piece in its simplicity that we thought it would be a perfect addition to the portfolio of mushrooms that we put together for this introduction or presentation. Again, Pentti Kaskipuro, and a very obscure artist, and that's why we love to bring attention to this kind of work. And I think that's what I've got. But finally, I just want to bring a poem by Sylvia Plath, talking about taking your breath away. Oh my gosh, I don't have the cover. Anyhow, let's just kind of like keep this image of the finish. Yes, I am back. Thanks for being there. But yeah, Sylvia Plath, she wrote this. I don't have the year. I'm sorry, you guys. Mushrooms by Sylvia Plath. This is it connects deeply with our conceptual idea of why we're doing mushrooms. And I'm going to bring facts about mushrooms if you guys want to hang out a little bit longer. But it's a poem in a collection titled The Colossus and Other Poems, and explores the idea that the oppressed will quietly rise up, or the meek shall inherit the earth. It's based on that biblical Matthew 5 verse. I don't know if it's a verse or whatever it's called, but yeah. So I'm reading the description. The overarching metaphor is of women as an oppressed group, represented by the characteristics of mushrooms, growing quietly and unobstructively, but nonetheless emerging. And yeah, so many argue that given Plath's history with men, she is suggesting that women will eventually overtake the opposite sex. However, and that's what I also love about this poem, the poem has potential for giving a voice to any number of voiceless people. And here's the poem, okay? I hope I do a good job. Overnight, very widely, discreetly, very quietly, our toes, our noses take hold on the loam, acquire the air. Nobody sees us, stops us, betrays us. The small grains make room. Soft fists insist on heaving the needles, the leafy bedding. Okay, that was a little bit of a tongue twister. Even the paving, our hammers, our rams, earless and eyeless, perfectly voiceless, widen the crannies, shoulder through holes. We diet on water, on crumbs of shadow. I love this one, this part. Bland-mannered, asking little or nothing. So many of us. We are shelves, we are tables, we are meek, we are edible, nudgers and shovers in spite of ourselves. Our kind multiplies. We shall by morning inherit the earth, our foot's in the door. And I just got goosebumps. And I'm just gonna put this poem on also a link of the poem that explains. It's a very good website that goes over each one of the verses and explains the connections and the interpretations, not only to her experience and her life, but also metaphors, analogies, which makes the poem so much more interesting. I don't know. I'll sign up for this webinar. It's tomorrow. We'll talk about this poem and what you guys think about it. And also, it's going to be mushrooms. And thanks everyone for joining, Claire and Laura and Julie and Jen and yes, I think everyone. Denise, thanks if you're still here, and Dina, thank you so much, Darlene. And also, I just really quickly, I know this is taking a little bit longer, but I'm really excited about this this subject, things about mushrooms that I didn't know. A mushroom is actually the fruit of fungus. So just like an apple is the fruit of an apple tree. So I thought fungus and mushrooms were the same, but I guess the mushroom is the fruit of the fungus. They don't have seeds. They have tiny spores that float through the air, and we're breathing them in all the time. We share 50% of our DNA with mushrooms. I had no idea. We have, as humans, we have more things alike with mushrooms than we have with plants. Don't ask me where I read this, but yes. The largest living organism on planet Earth is a mushroom. And and it was discovered in 1998. It occupies 2,384 acres, and it's in the Blue Mountains of Oregon. And so that's 10 square kilometers for those of you on the other side of the pond. It's at least 2,400 years old, and again, it's the largest living being or organism, on planet Earth, a mushroom. We're more closely related to fungi than to plants, and potentially we share up to 50% of our DNA with them. This is probably why our bodies respond well to mushrooms and medicines extracted from them, and why they can grow in and out of our bodies. Okay, that's like a TMI. On the gross side, this could be why they have a rich, meaty texture. I don't know about that last sentence. And mushrooms have been part of our human civilization for hundreds of thousands of years. We have worshipped mushrooms in different cultures, religions, and they're found throughout history. Mayans, Aztecs, ancient civilizations, our ancestors had more awareness about the fascinating power of fungi than we do today. More stuff that we'll talk about tomorrow. Sign up, go to our website. We have a beautiful calendar. You can click on the link. The webinar is going to be live tomorrow at 11 a.m., but you don't have to be there live at 11 a.m. if you're working, which we hope you are not, or if you have an engagement. You can just purchase the webinar access, and we'll send you the webinar later. We have a lot of fun. You don't have to have any experience. You don't even have to have all the materials. We offer a bonus session next Tuesday, Ruthless Colloquium. We offer a free tutorial if you register for this class. Otherwise, it's $10 each. And also, so we have a shared folder in which you can upload your progress. We give feedback. I think it's a steal. It's $20 to sign up, and we cannot wait to see what everyone's gonna do with the mushroom paintings. And thank you so much, Cindy. We're finishing this presentation. I'm sorry that you got in a little bit later. And Lois, I'm gonna send this again. And this was a long presentation, but it just shows you how excited we are about this subject matter. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Mwah.